Eyup cock, it's EFL review time and it's time to get locked in. Because we're hotting up right now. We're about to be halfway through season. We're nearly on Christmas vibes. Come on. Oh, forgot my head. It's like really, really tight on my head. This, like, it's constantly squeezing it inwards, but it's worth it. For the look, for the aesthetic. I've got such a blockhead. Right. Friday night, we did a watch along derby before Portsmouth 0. I said before this game, who do I think will win? Portsmouth. EFL expert, baby. I don't think this is a fair rep of what Portsmouth have actually been like in recent weeks, especially. When Colby Bishop's come back, they've started scoring a lot of goals. They've obviously not scored in the last two, but since he come back, 3 there, 2 there, 3 there against all your mid-table fodder sides. A good point against Norwich at home, even though they didn't score as well. But this, start to finish, were a shit show. Defensively, it were honestly embarrassing for Portsmouth. I feel sorry for the two centre-halves. Like, obviously, Pack's not a centre-half anyway, and he's been shoved in there. The own goal, he couldn't really do much about it. He couldn't sort his feet out in time. But the back two of Portsmouth are winning a lot of their headers. But the midfield is so far away. Potts and Dazelle are miles away. All second balls, Derby kept picking them up. Down Portsmouth's width, I mean, the fullbacks are comfortably worst in division from what I've seen. They're absolutely horrendous. The wingers at Derby probably couldn't believe the look that they were coming against, like, actual idiots in fullback. In Championship as well, they're thinking, oh, how shit are these lot? But defensively, it were absolutely horrendous from Portsmouth. But I don't want to take away how good Derby were. I don't think they made loads of clear-cut chances, but they took them well, the ones that they did have. Obviously, they were very clinical at 4-0. Even though they had 17 shots, I don't think a lot of them were like, wow, I'm expecting you to score these goals. One of them were an own goal as well, which obviously don't count to the XG. Who cares about XG? But Derby were definitely a better side. I mean, they've definitely just got enough to stay up, and it's annoying me that people are sort of like dragging them into this conversation when they're just not involved in this at all. You're looking at probably like an Oxford down for teams that are serious about maybe going down. And Portsmouth, I don't want, like I said, I don't want this to be what people think Portsmouth are, that they're just absolutely horrendous. Oh my God, they've been arseholed away at Derby. It was a one-off game where they've been arseholed recently. But other than that, they have been scoring goals. They created nothing in this game, but I don't think it'll be a regular thing where they get thumped by other average sides like Derby. On to Saturdays. Oh, Bristol City. Do we have to? Do we have to talk about Bristol City? Oh my God. In fact, no, let's not do that. Let's talk about QPR. What's their recent form saying? Not lost in 6 games, 3 wins, 3 draws. To be fair, they've not had the hardest fixtures ever. Like, your Norwich at home, it's probably the hardest one that they've had in the recent weeks after Leeds, and they're betting 3-0. And I've been saying for ages, the performances from QPR, I think, have been there. I do think they've played well a lot of the times that I've watched them. Obviously, this is just a constant onslaught by Bristol City. And now they come out of this with a draw, I ain't got a clue. It's probably because Bristol City are capped at 10th at most. They're not allowed to go above there. So they'll probably win next week now. Because obviously they're in 11th at the minute. They will probably win next week, because they're still capped at 9th then. In fact, if Bristol City wins, that means that Wednesday are going to get points, because obviously they can't go into 9th, Bristol City, God forbid. Them and Swansea are locked in now. We're just waiting for Preston to come up and join them, which they're not far off, to be fair. They'll be there soon, them 3, and Millwall. But you know what? I quite like this from QPR, because the performances, like I've said, have been there for a lot of time, and they're playing well, and recently especially, they're picking up points, how they're getting wins, they're keeping a lot of clean sheets recently. But if they can go to Bristol City away, get absolutely arseholed, possession, shots, everything, and still get a point and bring it back, sign a good team, that. Sign a team that's definitely not going down. That annoyed me as well, that people were putting them in that brush. Painting them with a brush. Not going to put them inside a brush, either. Right, Coventry 2, Hull 1. Just look at the XG. Look at the XG. I know I don't like it in general, but 3.5 expected goals in this game. 62% possession, 18 shots. A lot of them chances are of high standard. Hull are absolutely garbage. And it took a missed penalty and to come from behind it second half to end up winning. Mason Clark, let me get him up. Since Lampshade's come in, he started him in 3 games. He's got 3 goals and an assist. Or he started him in 4 games even. 3 goals and assists. 4 goal contributions in 4 games. Start the boy. Start the guy. He's so good. Even if you have to put Adji right up front or something. Mason Clark has got to be a left winger. He is one at best in this league, I'm being serious. Honest to God, he is him. 25, he's English. Mate, keep playing him, and you've got a player on your hands. It should have been more. They should have been out of sight a lot earlier, Coventry. But since Lampard's come in, obviously West Brom, they're a bit iffy. A lot of draws. But at home, West Brom don't lose games, like ever. So 2 wins, a draw, and a loss from his first 4 games, with some hard fixtures as well, to be fair. Like, Millwall away is not easy. Yeah, they've lost the last 3 games, but this was the start of it. That's not an easy one. West Brom away is definitely not an easy one. Hull is. But it's a good start for Lampard. It's a good start. And they're not a million miles away from it. Like, it's 10 points. Let's note it. We're not even at Christmas yet. 10 points in this amount of time. Let's note that. They could make that up. But it is another loss for Hull. Like, at least they scored a goal for once. But it's still crap. And I think they're in trouble. Preston 1, Leeds 1. This ran half 12. I caught the last, 15 minutes of this. And it were just a Leeds onslaught. Because obviously Preston 1-0 for majority of the game. Brad Potts, ex-Red, my man. But the last 15-20 minutes that I saw, it was just Leeds constantly just banging on, doing non-stop. And it ended up being an own goal. But I just feel like they're going to score so many goals late into games, Leeds. Because you look at the players that they're bringing off bench, man. This Ramzani, this winger that they've brought in to replace Somerville off bench. Somebody like Bamford, he's not good enough for Leeds anymore. But he's still like a good championship striker, do you know what I mean? Bringing him off bench. Solomon from Tottenham. Ampadu's back from injury. Somebody as good as Matteo Joseph. Them 5 subs would start for more or less any team in Championship. And these are coming off bench for Leeds. It's a Premier League squad with Premier League players on Premier League wages. Don't get me wrong, they're all shit Premier League players. But they've got a super team in this division. If they could sort out their away form, Leeds, they'd absolutely piss this league to bits. When you look at the aways, they're 8th. 8th. That's what's separating... potentially Burnley and Sheffield United could finish above them based on the points that they're getting away from home, where Leeds just aren't getting them. They're drawing a lot of games, they're losing a lot. 1 winning 5. And they were losing in that game for a lot of time. They brought that back in 94th minute, I think. At home, obviously, no surprises. They've lost once at home to Burnley. They drew with Portsmouth. I think that was first game of the season. Since, in between that, even 9 wins out of 11. They're ridiculous at home. Only one that's better than them at home is Sheffield United because they've conceded 2 goals, and that were both in 1 game to QPR. Other than that, they've not conceded a goal in 9 games. So Sheffield United are better than them at home and away. That is what can separate it. Like, the away form, they've got to sort it out. Don't get me wrong, I hope they don't. I hope they just keep doing this shit and trot it along because they'll end up finishing 3rd and then it's an instant loss in playoffs. Preston have been better recently. They're not winning enough games, which is still a bit of a worry. But if they can keep plopping along and just picking your draws up every now and again, or constantly in their case, same as like West Brom, you're just going to pull away, aren't you? Because there's so much absolute shite at bottom that gets no points. Luton, Oxford, Plymouth, do you know what I mean? Like, these just a shit. Oh no, that's the away thing. It's, you know what? Still the same thing. Preston have definitely got enough to stay up. Leeds, I will come on to Sunderland in a bit, but I think this is going to be the top 3, just changing order. Hopefully. Blackburn have won again. Let me click on show more here. It's 6 wins in a row. They've not conceded a goal in 5 games. And normally I would be saying, is it sustainable to just keep relying on clean sheets to get your wins? You're only scoring 1 goal. You're not scoring loads and loads of goals, even though you're winning. 4 1-0 wins here. But they're against good sides. They were miles better side here against Cardiff and the comfortably won. Luton are just shit and they comfortably won this. Wednesday away, as much as they're shit, Wednesday doing reasonably okay. So that's a really good win. Hull, I mean, that's a given for anybody at a minute. To beat Leeds is massive, regardless of score. To beat Middlesbrough away is massive, regardless of score. And the fixtures are only going to get harder because we're coming to end of you're playing everybody once. So then it'll come round that they're playing your Leeds and your Middlesbroughs again, but other way around. But they're on serious shit off form. They really, really are. And myself included, I'm just talking about what I think will be a top 3 going for autos. These win the game in hand. They're 5 points off top. Blackburn. And I seriously, I hope they do it. They've got a fantastic manager. After selling the best player by an absolute mile in Smodics and top goal scorer in the league for a side that finished 4th, 5th bottom, to then reinvest the money really, really good. John Newton's, like I've just said, very good manager. They play some very nice stuff. They can win in different ways because they can be a little bit stubborn with playing it out front back. Like at home to Sheffield United, for example, when they lost 2-0. But they can win in different ways, Blackburn, which I really like. And to be honest with you, I hope they get in there. I really do. And they were against 10 men for last 20 minutes, but it were already at the side by then anyway. It were only for 10 minutes, Walsh, and then he got a straight red, which he's done before, I think, for Luton since he signed. And I think Morris has had enough with him because he were ragging him about a little bit, just telling him to fuck off, more or less, get off pitch, you've ruined it again. And they could, to be fair, Luton are definitely going to be nearer to bottom 3 than top 6, regardless of the fact that they've just come down from a Prem, which is ridiculous and quite embarrassing. And I'm surprised that Rob Edwards is still there at the time of me recording this. But like I said at the start of this video, I think they're the barrier here. The Luton upwards, none of these sides are going down, I don't think. From my personal opinion, I think it's Oxford down that 3 of these 5 are going down. I think Luton will be sound, regardless of how shit they've been. Middlesbrough at Millwall 1-0. That's the end of Neil Harris's tenure for the 3rd time. I'm sure he'll be back at some point. Whenever Millwall are like floating around bottom three, he'll just come back and save them and walk off again. He just loves them, doesn't he? And you can't blame him because he thinks he's probably taking them as far as he can go, which is fair enough. Langstaff did go through one-on-one and had it saved or missed, I think. I can't remember, but it definitely went through one-on-one and could have drawn game for him. And that's just the little edges that separates Millwall from getting into playoffs every single year. Middlesbrough, I did expect more goals from him in this game, to be fair, but Millwall are quite good defensively, aren't they? But it's a good win. It's a really good win for Middlesbrough because despite the fact that they've lost 3 games in a row, Millwall are obviously a very hard side to play in this division, and they always are. They're gritty, they're horrible. They're not a side that you want to play. So to beat them with any scoreline is good. Oxford won Wednesday 3. This just sets tone, doesn't it, really? If you lose a game to Wednesday, you're getting sacked. That is the standard that is set. And I think it's absolutely embarrassing, to be honest, that they've sacked him. As an Oxford fan, like, when you look at... This is the highest that Oxford have been in, like, a century. They've not been in Championship in donkeys, man. I can't remember in my life Oxford being in Championship. I genuinely can't remember it once, and I'm 24. As an Oxford fan that's come in League One after Liam Manning left, got him in playoffs still, as the massive, massive underdogs, by the way, in playoffs. You just said that they were 4th favourite to go up. You've got Barnsley, Bolton and Peterborough in there, who were all in that season before as well. I think. Were they? Yeah, I think they were. You expect one of them 3 to probably go up. Oxford were miles a better side against Peterborough across both legs, and then completely outclassed Bolton at Wembley. Like, Bolton didn't get a sniff at Wembley. Oxford were a miles better team with a much worse squad, by the way. I do think they've invested the money quite well across board, but at the end of the day, you've stepped up a division with a mid-table League One side plus Cameron Brannigan. Brannigan's not stepped up to plate, really. Even though he's got a new contract and he's easily the best player, he's not stepped up to Championship standard, I don't think. They're not good enough in both boxes. They lose the midfield battle a lot of the time, which I think is the best area. And they've got like Volks, Rodriguez, like El Mazzuni, Brannigan. They've got a lot of good players in middle. They lose midfield battle a lot of the time. They're not good enough in both boxes. They're not clinical enough. Defensively, they looked really slack against Wednesday. A lot of the goals come from either scrappy play or a screamer on edge at box from what I've seen. It's not sustainable. Does he deserve to be sacked? No, I think they should have gone down with him, personally. But I don't see how someone can come in and save this team. These have got serious potential, I think, to come last now. Which, after the really, really good start that they had, and I was so confident in them at the start, but they've just been... They were, again, looking, it runs out. Do you know what I mean? Your luck is going to run out eventually, and it has done for Oxford, and they've won 1 game in like 15. It's not good enough, especially to a side this crap. Just throw that one in there as well. I just think, and maybe this is me being stupid, stay with the manager that's got you promoted, because he'll probably get you up again. If you keep the core of that squad when you go down, Oxford, you're probably going to have a very good chance of coming back up again. Another manager coming in, obviously from a business point of view and maybe a football sense, you think it's short term more than long, don't you? And they're not going to want to accept that they're going down, even though they're currently safe. They're not going to want to think, yeah, we'll just throw a towel in now. They're going to want to bring a manager in that's going to have a go at keeping them up. But I think Des Buckingham was the man to maybe keep him up, if at all, anyway. And I think that they've just got rid of that. So I think short and long term, this is just a stupid decision to sack him. But that's just me. Sheffield United 2, Plymouth 0. Just the most bog standard Sheffield United win ever. It were always going to be a Sheffield United win. Despite the fact that Plymouth have apparently played well, Sheffield United weren't good. Who cares? Do you know what I mean? Playing well don't get you 3 points. That does. That on your screen now does. It says 2 for Sheffield United and 0 for Plymouth. So regardless of the fact that Plymouth were a better team, they've not got it in them to win games. So they've lost again. Cooper made a blinder of a save, by the way. Plymouth fans must want to harm themselves seriously for the fact that they've let him go for like 1.5, 2 million quid when he could potentially be like the England tackle in a couple of years. He's only young still. But yeah, it's just a bog standard boring Sheffield United win, I can't be asked. Stoke 2, Cardiff 2. This is Ben Gibson's show, this. The own goal scored in 70th minute and then he scores equaliser at 95th. What a boy. Looks a fairly even game. Like I keep saying this, I think Cardiff have got enough in them to stay up. I really, really do. I like that they've given that interim job because I don't think anybody else really could have come in and done something. And you don't want 3 managers before January, do you? They obviously sacked the first one. It took them a month and a half to decide that they were going to get interim job. Your players are used to that interim, then you don't want to change them 3 times before Christmas has even come, do you? It'd have been daft. It'd have been suicide, I think, to give somebody else a job. And I think he's got enough in him because this is a really, really good point, in fairness. They're not getting many. Stoke, yeah, they're a crap side and they lost the 3 games in a row before this. But I think you just take your away points, don't you? When you're a shit team, when you're in a relegation fight with another couple crap sides, Any point away from home, I think, is good, regardless who it's against. I genuinely think that is a really good point for Cardiff. And Stoke, yeah, they just didn't loot and tackle out the way they're going to be marginally sound. And this, Swansea 2, Sunderland 3, you know what? I will eat my hat. Because I've been speaking about like the mentality of Sunderland and the squad, because they're all young lads, and that maybe they've not got it in them and grit and fate to see games on the line when they're struggling because they've not got loads of experience in this squad. To come from 2-0 down to win game is massive, especially away from home at a side that's been playing quite well recently in Swansea. That is massive. It puts Swansea back down to where they belong, which is mid-table doing nought. And Sunderland have pushed back up a little bit, because when it was 2-0, I was like, you know what, that's fine. My top 3 is set now, definitely. And it still probably is. I'm not going to lie to you, because I do think it will maybe get to them, the fact that they have got a young team. But this is big. It's a big, big win, this, and it keeps them in touching distance at proper sides that are going for autos. They're going to be a playoff team at least, and a lot of people have said like, oh, they might fall out because of that. That's ridiculous. They're definitely good enough to be top 6. I do think it's going to be hard picking like maybe a 5 and 6 team, but I think Middlesbrough is sounding it as well. Blackburn are playing really good. It's hard to pick 2 of your top 6, I think, but that top 4 is set in stone, I think. But it is the top 3 that are serious contenders for your autos and your title. But we did have 2 games yesterday as well. On Sunday, we had Watford 2, West Brom 1, which is another really big win for playoff fate as well, because people are sort of ignoring Watford a lot of time. They don't win loads and loads of games. They draw quite a few, especially recently. But I can't say that. West Brom have drawn 11 games. Do you know what I mean? This is where I think they'll probably pull up a little bit short, West Brom, because they've had to make changes, because obviously the players are tired. They're playing a lot of games really fast. Sheffield United would say they nearly, well, obviously they still won against Plymouth, but their players look shattered based on the amount of games that they played in a short space of time. West Brom are exact same with the game that they had against Sheffield United with it being on telly. So Mark's on bench, which means that you instantly then offer very, very little in middle of park. Obviously Jason Malumbi scored, but that's his second at season, I think. Moat's the real goal threat from middle. There's not a lot really going on there apart from that. The wingers are providing absolutely fuck all, and they've done nothing all season. They've done absolutely nothing. They've scored 1 goal between the wingers, I think. And it was Fellows against Sheffield United when it took 7 deflections and gone in. Don't get me wrong, they're putting decent balls in. And maybe they are more creators than goal scorers, the wingers, even in current state of football where your wingers are your goal scorers most of the time. So they've got a lot of assists between them, like the winging rotations that they've got with the Johnson and Fellows and that Ratchet and stuff like that, and Wallace. But they've absolutely no goal threat out wide. None. The goal threat comes directly through middle of pitch with Magic, Grant and Moat most of the time. And that's it. They're not scoring enough goals. They're so slow. The counter-attacks are horrendous. It's honestly disgusting to watch the counter-attacks and how slow they are. They rely on controlling possession a lot of time, because you've got to pen them in. If you want to get some goals at West Brom, you've got to pen teams back. You've got to pen them in their own box, because you're not going to break. You've got no pacing team. You're not going to break and score, are you? You've got to keep them penned in and be patient with it, which they haven't to an extent. Obviously, they've got more possession. They've got marginally more XG. It's quite an even game, but they've just not got the goals in them that other teams clearly have got. It's going to be a big, big January this for West Brom, because I feel like if he's not backed, it could. They've obviously got a Premier League manager. Carlos is a Premier League manager. I'm 100% stand by that. But he needs backing. He needs a winger at least, and he needs a serious number 10, because they've got no goal threat at middle apart from Moat, like I've said. They need pace on wide. They need pace out wide. They need a number 10. To be fair, I think they need another centre half, if I'm being completely honest with you, because Holgate's not good enough. I don't think Bartley's good enough. I quite like this lad, in fairness, this Hegem. I quite like him. But defensively, it's not their issue. They need goals. They need wingers and a midfielder ASAP if they want to be serious and cement the place in top 6, honestly. And to be fair, it's another big side that's pulling up short at minute, and it's Norwich. They've lost 2-1 at home to Burnley. This is just classic haram ball from Burnley. Like, not loads and loads at ball. They've created very little, and they've scored 2 very good goals. Again, it's just Parker, innit, man? But the injuries, I think, are starting to take toll now for Norwich. When did the last win a game? They've lost 2 out of the last 3. They drew away at Portsmouth. And obviously, they are hard games, don't get me wrong. But after they scored 10 goals in 2 games with Plymouth and Luton, get arseholed 3-0 away at QPR. Don't score away at Portsmouth. You've only scored 1 at home to Burnley. To be fair, Burnley defensively very solid. Or they have been before. Obviously, Esteve's injured now. John Egan's a good backup to have. But Esteve, I would probably say, is Burnley's best player. From outside looking in, I think he's an insane centre-half. So maybe they will start having to change how they play a little bit, because they're not going to be as defensively good if he's injured. But this is a massive, massive win. It's a massive win for Burnley. And they were doing all right, to be fair, this Krenak. whatever his name is, this striker. He's been doing quite well. He's more or less a complete centre forward as well. He brings Borja Sands into it a lot. They create so many chances for this boy, but I do think they may be missing Sargent. Obviously, they've scored probably most goals in the league, haven't they? At a guess, they've got to be up there. 36, yeah. Them Middlesbrough 35, yeah. So they've scored most goals in the league. They've probably scored some of most goals in country relative to the league that they're in. But I think they need more, which is crazy. But they did score 10 of them goals in 2 games. The last 3, they've scored 1 goal. You know what I mean? And it's not against the best teams ever. I just think they need more, and I think they're crying out for Sargent to come back. But again, I think they probably need a centre half as well, Norwich, if they want to be serious about getting in there, because it will get to a point where you start sliding down. Even like Coventry's are picking up now. Coventry only 2 points behind Norwich, which I think's ridiculous, to be fair. But these are 2 sides that I can see outside like your top 8. I think they're your only 2 sides, Norwich and Coventry, that could maybe get in there, if I'm being completely serious. But it's just, they need investment in January, and that's what it's going to come down to. That is what is going to separate all these teams. How much money you spend, as always. But if we look at table before we move on to League One, it's a bottom 5 now. It's a relegation fate between Hull, Plymouth, Portsmouth, Cardiff and Oxford. I think 3 of them go down. If I'm being completely serious, I'm not bothered about like the performances that Plymouth have put up against Sheffield United recently. They're not winning games. They're not scoring enough goals. They're absolutely shit. I think Hull, Plymouth and Oxford are the 3 that drop, personally, at this one given time. That's where I'm at. And I think Cardiff and Portsmouth will stay up. Everything here upwards don't matter. Coventry have maybe got it in them to get in top 6. So have Norwich. But other than that, this is just all mid-table fodder up to West Brom. West Brom, like I've said, they need wingers, they need pace, they need something in middle that's going to give them a bit more of a creative spark, a bit of a goal threat. Because if they don't get that, regardless of how good Carlos is, they'll not get in there. I'm silently rooting for Watford and Blackburn. I think 2 smaller sides that don't get 25,000+ in every week like a lot of these sides. I'm rooting for them, for one of them 2 to get in. Do I think they will? No. I'm really liking what Blackburn are doing, and I think Blackburn have got a serious chance at getting in there. But I do think quality eventually will get you. I do think quality will shine through. And if West Brom spend the money, I think West Brom will get in there over Blackburn. But Middlesbrough, I think, will be definitely in there. And then this top 4 is definitely in there as well. But it is Burnley, Leeds and Sheffield United for a top 2 race, in my humble opinion. Obviously, Sunderland are only 5 points off top of the league, so they're not completely out of it either. It'd be ridiculous to say that when we've played 21 games. But I think Sheffield United are going up, definitely. Sheffield United are going to pull away soon. Leeds have a win given more or less half at time at home. But Burnley aren't conceding goals. It's a game of the Januaries. It's a game of the money, as always, baby. Best league in the world. We're so back. Half 12er. Bolton versus Wigan Athletic. This screamed Wigan win to me. I had it on a little footer on Mr. 365, my investment app. That were a given, because Ian Evatt has not got the bollocks in a big game like this. It just and I think he's very close to being sacked now. Which in grand scheme of things, it is ridiculous to say that in it. Like, they've got 2 games in hand on the most of the teams in playoffs. The 1 point of getting in. They will be in there regardless. I've said this for ages. Even if they sack Evatt, if they keep him, it literally don't matter. They could hire me as manager. They will definitely get in there, 100%. But I think fan base is starting to turn on him now, or a lot of them. And when you've got a big club like this, with a big club like Bolton, if fan base turns on you, I don't think there's no coming back from that, personally. And to be fair, Wigan have come and done a job on him. Again, they've done the exact same to us. They keep none at ball. They're not interested in that. I don't know how much dark magic they've pulled up this time, but against us, it was like playing the devil himself. And they've started pulling themselves away from any sort of danger as well. And the 3 wins in the last 5, Wigan, 2 losses in between that as well. But they've had some hard fixtures recently. And to get 3 wins out of 5, when they have 5 fairly tough fixtures in total, they've still only conceded 16 goals in league. Defensively, they're very good. They'll be more than sound them, 100%. And Bolton will get in there. Leighton Orient, Burton 0-0. We do not care. Birmingham 2, Bristol Rovers 0. Bristol Rovers just haven't laid a glove on him, have they? They've not even made a dent in that Birmingham defence at all. They've had 3 shots all game. Birmingham have had 26, 3 expected goals, all possession in world. Bristol Rovers have obviously sacked the manager after this, which I think is harsh to do after away at Birmingham. I think that's just a ridiculous thing to do. Like, you can't judge someone on a performance away at Birmingham in this league, because then everybody will be sacking the manager more or less every week. But it has been coming. I do think it's the right decision, but it could have been done before this, because this is just a free hit anyway away at Birmingham. But for Bristol Rovers, the squad that they've got, I think is good. So to be down here in a serious fate is sad, to be honest, because they're a side that have banged on about for ages. Them, your Exeters, your Lincolns, them sides, they're always mid-table. They're always horrible to go against. They're always sides that you drop points against if you're to go up. But Birmingham are just a different beast altogether in this league. They're an absolute different animal altogether. They've not even got out of second gear. 1-2-0 comfortably. They probably took foot off gas, to be fair. Yeah, they scored 2 in first half. They've not even tried it second half, have they? They brought all lads on in 80th. Just happy days. See it out. No danger. No injuries. No fretter out happening. Happy days. What a win. Oh, that makes it 6 in a row now. Shouldn't have bet us, though. Sticky little bastards. Charlton 0, Mansfield 0. We do not care. All glory to the big man. We're so back. Did I go to this game? Absolutely not, mate. Our in home first. Whitbird. But I did make the special request that we could be at pub for 3 PM sharp so I can watch all scores come in. And boy, am I glad I did, because that made my weekend. I know stats say like it's obviously us that's dominated this game. But this is worst, from what I've seen and what I've heard and everything, this is worst that we've played in like 6 weeks, in like 6 games. And this is one that we've won. A lot of the games that we've played recently, like Birmingham, were probably better side, until red card at least. Wrexham I thought were very even, were definitely better against Bristol Rovers and Reading and Cambridge. And this is one that we win. Football's a stupid game, innit? With the injuries that we've got as well, because obviously Roberts is out for a couple of weeks. Earl's going to be out for maybe a month, a few weeks as well. Got a lot of injuries. Phillips got a red card. And Wakali, mate, this guy's him. This guy is... He is the Barnsley Yaya, mate. He's unbelievable. I'm glad Dunn's got his goal as well. It was a really good ball across from Humphries. I'm glad that Dunn has got his goal. And if he's always in right position. To say he's not a striker, his positioning as a forward is immaculate. Very, very good timing of his runs and everything. He's always in right place. He's like a couple inches away from being on about 15 goals so far. I really like the bloke. Seriously. I know he missed a sitter as well. But I believe in this man. I think we've got a decent strike force there. I do need another striker, though. I need another striker. I need another defender. And... the only way is up. I'm just deluded, boys. I don't know what to say. Huddersfield 2, Lincoln 2. Lincoln were 2-0 up at half-time and ended up dropping points. It's really good character from Huddersfield to bring this back to 2 apiece. They got absolutely robbed of a penalty. If you've not seen that, then after you've watched this and liked the video and subscribed, then go and watch the highlights of this game. Because if it shows you, I can't remember if it does show you, or if I saw it on Twitter, but I've definitely seen it somewhere. It gets absolutely ragged at floor in like 97th minute and refs bottled it. It should have been a penalty. Huddersfield probably should have won this game. They have been scammed. But it is good character to come from 2-0 down to end up winning. The one of very few sides in this division that I'm actually scared about playing in players. Because obviously we've lost top 2 now. We're not going to get in there. I'm scared a little bit of like a Wycombe or an Huddersfield. Wrexham don't bother me at all. I know we lost 1-0, but I'd fancy chances against them. Huddersfield I'm a little bit worried about. Wycombe I'm a little bit worried about. Birmingham are obviously going to win league anyway, so and it is looking like them four going for top 2. But they've got a bit of bad time on Huddersfield. I think Lincoln as well. Obviously they've been dropping a lot of points recently, but they have had some hard fixtures as well. Can they get in there? I'm going to say no. Peterborough 4, Crawley 3. Oh my lordy lord. I'm lost for words with Peterborough, mate. Honestly, it must be a rate laugh this year, though. Like, every game, it's just goals. Just goals non-stop. It must be a rate crack. They were 3-1 up just after half-time. Crawley brought it back to 3 apiece in space of 2 minutes, and then Kiernays has won up game. This is just ridiculous. I'm surprised they've scored 4 goals this game, because obviously Poku's injured for months. Is this sustainable? Absolutely not. They've conceded 35 goals. It's the second most in division, only behind bottom at league actually in Shrewsbury. Yes, they've scored the most, but no, they aren't even. Wycombe have scored most. They've scored the second most, but this is mental. They have got to tighten up at back, or seriously, they could be in trouble of going down. I'm being completely honest with you. Crawley, I'm loving them. Honestly, I'm loving their chances of staying up. The scoring goals for fun. Obviously, defensively, same problem. They're conceding a lot of goals. But Crawley and Peterborough in League One. Do you know what I mean? You're looking at teams that should be like here and here based on the respective squads that they've got. It's positive signs for Crawley that have scored 3 goals. But they're conceding a hell of a lot. 4 there, only 1 there, another 4 there. They concede a lot against good sides. Obviously, they bet Rotherham because Rotherham aren't a good side. And I've been saying that I don't think they've got enough in them. But I'll tell you what they have got, a lot of the sides aren't. A bit of fate in them. And that might get them over. Reading 0, Blackpool 3. I mean, since he has left, Ruben Sellers, it's just going down pan in it a little bit. It's just going down pan. I think a lot of the young squad are sort of losing belief at Reading. They've already got enough points to stay up, so like let's not even talk daft. The 12 points in front of staying up. So if they end up down here, then something has seriously gone wrong. But January is going to be a nightmare for these. You just know it is, unfortunately. And I think, to be honest, even with the position that they're currently in, they take 20th, a lot of their fan base. Blackpool have won 3 games in a row after a really horrible last couple of months, really. They started pulling a bit closer to top. Will they get in there? I'm going to say no again, respectfully, but it is a massive winner at Reading. Bloody hell, Rotherham are even winning. What is happening? Rotherham is scoring goals. What? Northampton is so inconsistent, it actually does me head in. Lineup-wise, I'm going to be completely serious. These two teams are not a million miles away from each other. Rotherham have got the better names. They've got the more attractive personnel in there. But these two squads, I don't think are a million miles away from each other. From an attacking point of view. Defensively and in middle, I think Rotherham are probably edging them. But the attacking players that Northampton have got, Hoskins, Cameron McGee and Roberts, I do expect more from them, goal-wise. Don't get me wrong, it's a big win for Rotherham. It's a deserved win. They were definitely a better side in this game. They'll probably stay up, Rotherham, which is crazy to say. And if they wouldn't have won this game, they'd have literally been 20th. Oh my God, they're not scoring enough goals. They've got 19 goals in 18 games. When you just come down from Championship, you expect your side to at least be able to put ball in net a little bit, regardless of what shit that's going on. It's two crap sides that have played each other. But like I said before, I think Rotherham have got enough in them to stop up. You're probably looking at like your Northampton down. Leyton Orient maybe could be dragged into it, but even they're like getting points recently and not conceding loads and loads of goals. It's a tough one to call this down at bottom. We could be onto an all-timer in fairness, because there is only, like I said, 12 points from Reading in 6th to going down. 12 points and that's it. But this next one for me, this is the most impressive result at weekend in my eyes. I thought before this game, I am not scared to admit it, I thought Wycombe had dropped points here. Honestly, I backed Shrewsbury for a win on my bed, on my investment even. Another investment down the drain. Just looking at this from outside in, Shrewsbury, horrible side, bottom versus top. Ainsworth versus old team. He'd have been praying to old gods and the new Ainsworth on Friday night and Saturday morning. I'm convinced that he would have sold his soul to somehow scam a win in this game. But they've been absolutely arseholes. Like, big time. They've been shit on. And it's not a textbook dominating win. But Wycombe aren't like that anyway. Wycombe win in very different ways a lot of time. They give me very Blackburn vibes, if I'm honest with you. But they're scoring a lot of goals. They've only had 7 shots in the entire game and scored 4 of them. That's the clinicalness that you need if you want to go up. But that has really altered my view on Wycombe, because I was worried maybe that maybe slipped down a little bit. There's obviously a lot of managers in high divisions getting sacked, so there's a chance that Bloomfield could be stolen from him at like any point. But if he stays, I tell you what, Wycombe, Birmingham and Huddersfield especially, 3 good sides in this league, three very good teams. Stevenage 2, Stockport 1. I mean, that's just textbook Stevenage home winning this division. They're very good at home. Yeah, they might have dropped off recently, but against decent sides, Stevenage at home, a genuinely very hard place to go. We lost this season to them. I think we lost 3-0 to them this season. Even last season when we got in playoffs, near end, I went there on a Tuesday night and we lost. It's an awful place to go. I don't know what it is. Some teams have just got you on wraps. They've just got your number, aren't they, at home in this division, and Stevenage are one of them. Stockport are dropping a lot of points recently. I think they will slip out eventually, especially because Louis Barry's going to get recalled in January, so they'll be in all types of shit at that point. And then finally, Wrexham 2, Cambridge 0. For all other promotion chasing sides, this is a great result. This is genuinely a very good result. Cambridge were a better team as well. They've created more. The chances were better. They've not got loads at ball, but you're not going to when you're a smaller side. Well, probably the same size club these. When you're one of the lesser teams in division currently away at Wrexham, you're not going to have loads and loads of ball. Even though Wrexham are a domination-based team, they can switch it depending on what they're playing like. But it does look like an even game with Cambridge being marginally better. They've not conceded loads of goals, Wrexham, this season either. So before this game, they conceded 11 in 19 games. They've obviously conceded 2 to Cambridge here. For a side that don't really score a lot of goals as well, they're scoring more than some other dross down at bottom, which might be in the favour when it comes to it. And like I said, after the bet was on that Tuesday night, I can see why they've not conceded loads of goals, Wrexham. But maybe it's other end at pitch that they're lacking. Maybe. They've scored 30 goals. Yeah, it's a lot, but compared to some other promotion-chasing sides, obviously we're lacking a striker big time, and we've got 1 less than them. Huddersfield have scored 30, and they're not like big scorers. Birmingham and Wycombe, this might be what separates Wycombe. This might be what separates Wrexham from getting in there. The goals that they're scoring, because obviously defensively they are the best, which I'm not surprised at. But going the other way, have they got enough with a strike force of like Ollie Palmer, Paul Mullin, Fletcher? They've got no legs in them at all. Palmer, I think, is good. He's a good League One striker because he's just a lump that you can bring other players in and play off. Elliot Lee's a real danger man. But other than that, I don't think they've got enough going forward to be a top 2. They've definitely been playoffs, and I've been saying this every single video for weeks, and I'll probably keep saying it until it ends. But I don't think they've got enough goals to be in top 2, Wrexham. To be fair, I don't really want to play them in playoffs either because they'll bring all Yanks in. They'll take 50,000 to Wembley, won't they? They were getting 2,500 at home a couple of years ago, but suddenly Wembley's full. American flags flying around. Oh, Deadpool abseiling in from ceiling. Yank. I wish my owners were actors with shitloads of money. Anyway, Shrewsbury, bottom of league. I've said I think they'll get out, but 8 goals conceded in 2 games. They concede at least 2, more or less, every single week. They're shit at back. They're conceding like 2 a game on average, nearly. It's more than 2 a game. They're conceding more than 2 a game currently on average. 19 games, 39 goals. They're conceding more than 2 a game. That is shit. But I do think we're looking at like maybe late in Orient downwards. Maybe. If we sort of like bring them in a little bit. It's obviously very close. There's the points tally from like Reading downwards. Honestly, it's nothing. Even Blackpool downwards. You're looking at 7 points from top half, from top 10 to relegation zone. It's going to be an absolute shit show for the entire season. But January again will play a part. Your bigger sides will spend the money that your other small sides just don't have, and they'll probably start pulling away a little bit. But as for playoffs, Bolton have lost, Barnsley have won. Woo! To be fair, it was a good weekend for Barnsley. Reading lost, Stockport lost, Huddersfield drew, Wrexham drew. Obviously, top 2 I'm not that bothered about. Bolton lost, Lincoln drew. It's been a good weekend for us for playoff picture. But I do think, and I've been saying it for ages, I think we're swapping Stockport and Reading out and putting Bolton and Barnsley in. And I think that'll be a top 6. I just want to go up. I'm so bored of this shit. But that's that. Right, boys. Absolute pleasure. Thank you as always for watching. Make sure you subscribed and you like the video. Thank you as always. I'll just see you in a bit when I... Come on.
I say I'm a man. Yes, I'm a mucker. I think of me saying as a right good looker. I say up that. Show us me tits.